You clicked on this video because you wanted to learn the type of funnel that people like Cole Gordon use, who makes $30 million a year off this type of funnel, and what my personal client Geronimo used in order to make $20,000 in monthly recurring revenue from scratch from a program that he launched within the first 90 days of us working together. So here is the actual funnel. It starts with content, then moves into a type form, then moves into a Calendly, then a sales call, and then a close. But then there's this extra part right here that's called maximize conversions, which we're going to get to later in the video. So here's the actual funnel right here, a lot bigger, a lot more detail, but let's start with the content section. So content, you typically want to have on YouTube 4 videos a month. The videos are going to have edits, script writing, a thumbnail, and a description each. And every single video that you make is going to abide by this organic content funnel process. You're going to have top, middle, and bottom of the funnel content. So the top of the funnel content is going to be very awareness building. It's going to reach a broader audience, and it's going to funnel to other videos later on in the funnel. Middle of the funnel content is going to be a lot more interesting with higher value for people that already may know who you are. And then that's going to funnel into lower parts of the funnel as well as your VSL. The bottom of the funnel content is going to feed ideas into the viewer. So what your ideal client, the ideas that they need to have in order to buy from you, those are the ideas that you're going to inject into the viewer's brain like propaganda. The bottom of the funnel content videos are going to be also the highest value, and they're going to link directly to your VSL, which is going to link into the type form. Next, we have the type form. So the VSL is going to link to this. And of course, the purpose of this type form is to make sure you're qualifying prospects and collecting all the relevant information from them. So that includes their name, their email, their phone number, and 4 to 5 qualifying questions. We need this information so that we can retarget them later on in the process if they don't convert early on from the type form or from other parts of this funnel. So the type form format, of course, we already went through that. As for the qualifying questions, these are some examples. So you can do, what is your monthly revenue level? Should we work together? How soon are you able to take action on what is taught? Which is very important because, of course, you want to make sure that you are enacting and pursuing the actual clients that are going to be able to start as soon as possible, right? You don't want to really go for clients that are thinking about starting maybe in a month from now, when there are clients that are able to begin right now, right? Who are able to take action on what you teach them right at that moment. You can also ask what goals they're looking to achieve. And then, of course, all of these questions are going to be subject to change based on what your niche is and also what product or service you are selling. And here are examples of this in action. So some questions like what best describes you, if you decide to work together, how soon you can get started, and then actually the name, the email, and the phone number, which are important. And then this is the Calendly, because the next part of this funnel is the Calendly. So the Calendly can be embedded into your actual landing page, so it can be in the same place as your type form and your VSL. And then you can have it to look nice like this. And as well, you also want to have a lot of FOMO building and urgency building copy on the actual landing page to further incentivize people to actually go on and book the moment that they get on the website, right? So that includes language like this: final step required to complete your application, you're 1 step away from clarity, momentum, and consistent income. Things like that are going to build that urgency and build that fear of this client potentially missing out on a huge opportunity that is going to change their life. So after the Calendly, it's the sales goal and then the close. And then that's when you get paid and that's when you get money. What happens though is people are going to book into the Calendly, but then not close on the sales goal. Other people are going to book into the Calendly, but not show up to the sales goal. And then there's going to be people who never book into the Calendly, but they have all their information on Typeform. And then we know who they are, but they haven't booked into to Calendly. And then what we need to do is retarget them. And that brings us to our next section, which is maximize conversions. So this also does include tracking their data. So the click-through rate from the VSL, booking rate on Calendly, etc., etc. But most importantly, we want to actually cover the retargeting process. So that's going to include social media, SMS campaigns, retargeting ads, and email marketing. Social media specifically, you're going to have potentially retargeting ads on social media like Instagram and Facebook. You can do meta ads. And what you're going to do is you're going to have the Facebook pixel on your website so that you're able to track them down and then retarget those ads towards them to funnel them later on in this funnel. SMS campaigns, same thing. This is why you need the phone number so that you can actually send these SMS campaigns fully automated. Email marketing, same thing. You need their email, and you get their email through the actual Typeform. This is why the Typeform is important, by the way, so that you can do these things here. And then social media ads and also organic content is going to be important as well. And then here's some more information. When it comes to the email marketing, the SMS campaigns, and the social media and the ads, for everything, you want to make sure that you're adding urgency, and you also want to make sure that you have case studies, testimonials, and reminders as well. Now, all of this, part of the maximizing conversions, is all going to funnel into one big part of the funnel that not a lot of people are doing right now, but is slowly gaining popularity, and that is webinars. So the thing about webinars is around 7 years ago, everybody was doing them. And what happened is they became so saturated that people stopped doing them. And roughly 3 years later, they ended up dying, right? Nobody really did them. But now it's getting to the point here in 2025 where people are now picking up on webinars again because of their effectiveness. You can speak to a large audience of people for completely free and pitch their service and make it a live event, make them scared if they miss out, things like that. So you see people like Iman Gadzi making these webinars. You see people like Cole Gordon making webinars. Multiple people in the space now who are making webinars. It's still a little bit untapped, but it's slowly gaining popularity because of how profitable they can be. So the thing about the webinars is you typically want to host them on any of these platforms. That includes Webinar Jam, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, etc. You want to make them 45 to 60 minutes long. So you're typically going to have a slideshow presentation or even a Miro board just like this one. You want to make sure the first 5 minutes of the webinar are engaging. You want to make sure you're frequently engaging with your audience to make them feel seen. So you want to answer their questions. You want to remove any doubts that they might have about your product so that you can sell them right then and there. You want to make sure you provide social proof that includes case studies, testimonials, etc. And then you want to pitch your product and service at the very end of the webinar, right? And then what's going to happen is once you have the proof of concept of the webinars, ideally 3 webinars that are highly profitable and highly successful, what you want to do with those webinars is you want to recycle them. So you can put them up as live webinars, but they aren't actually going to be live. They're just going to be live video events. And that's going to allow you to not have to do webinars anymore. So you don't have to waste your time doing that. Of course, it's not a waste of time, and live webinars are going to be more effective in general than pre-recorded webinars, but you can have the pre-recorded webinars up to make this process fully automated, and so you can step out of this whole process, right? So the thing about the webinars is you typically want to have them every single week or once every 2 weeks or at least once every month. So always make sure that you're funneling warm leads that weren't targeted before into the webinars so that they can go to the sales call and then the close, right? From the webinar, you're going to make sure that they go to the sales call and then they close. And then you have all these extra leads that you otherwise wouldn't have from this whole entire part of the process, maximize conversions, right? Typically what people will do is they'll have this type of funnel, or maybe a few parts missing. Maybe they might not have the type form, but in general, they're going to have this type of funnel, but they completely miss this whole extra part of the funnel, right? They have the videos, they might have a Calendly up, and then they have the sales call, they have a sales team, etc., but they miss that entire part of the funnel. So very important and very, very profitable. Now that brings us on to the next thing that I wanted to touch on. So this funnel here, it's not complicated, right? There are a lot of points here. There are a lot of notes here that you can look through. You can pause through the video if you want to read through all of them. But overall, it's a pretty simple funnel, right? It's very digestible. You can see everything that's going on. It's simple. You just you have content organically, and then they go into the site form, then the Calendly, then the sales call, and then the close. And then for everybody that doesn't go to the sales call or doesn't close, they just come down here and then they close. Very simple. The thing is, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do all of these automations. all the different campaigns, all of the copy, all of the video editing, all of the thumbnail design, all the descriptions, the actual type form questions, the proven processes, and the proven system to actually make these type form questions that actually convert and actually work with your ideal clients. And then, of course, the webinars. Not everybody can do that. The thing that I wanted to mention about this funnel is, since it's hard to do, my team and I would actually be able to implement this entire thing entirely done for you, including the video editing, including the typeform setup, Calendly setup, the automations when it comes to the email campaigns, the Facebook pixels, everything like that. Literally everything in this funnel would be able to be done entirely by me and my team for you. So if that's something that you would be interested in, I would definitely click the video right now on screen, but otherwise you can have a look through the whole funnel and you could copy everything that you need. You can copy all the notes, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the whole funnel. Otherwise, if you would like to have this done entirely for you, let me know, and also click the video on screen. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching this video. Have an amazing day.